Isshiki being so powerful and not having the sad backstory and redeemable conclusion that most Naruto villains have kind of puts him in a weird position, because people are going to hyperfixate on him just beating up Naruto and Sasuke and him not ever losing a fight unless it's against Baryon Mode Naruto, while ignoring all of his complexities and significance to the narrative. This is kind of similar to what people do with Dragon Ball Z villains, to where they're so strong, they're blowing up all these planets, threatening the solar systems, and having all these cool transformations that you kind of find it easy to miss out on the narrative and what Toriyama is actually trying to say. Which, Ikimoto being a huge Dragon Ball fan, even more than he is a Naruto fan, this follows the same line of reasoning. Isshiki's writing is kind of hidden. It's not as in your face with Kishimoto's writing, when he spams sad backstories and kind of just outright tells you that, oh, he's redeemable, he's not, he's gonna come to the good guy side. That's not gonna happen. But what does happen is through many spaced out statements, once you put them all together, they kind of create this cohesive narrative. It kind of just all fits together. And this works because you're not just shoved a bunch of word salad and flashbacks in your face, but you're able to enjoy the fights while also picking up on small statements throughout the story. I much prefer this writing style, with Dragon Ball Z being my favorite anime and Boruto being my favorite new gen, but I can understand why many won't enjoy this type of writing because it's so different than how the Naruto universe has been to us these past, 25 years? With that being said, since I know a lot of people don't like this writing style and aren't gonna pick up on what Ikimoto and Kishimoto are kind of laying down on us because they need it in their face, no offense, I'm here to explain just that. What is Isshiki's purpose? What does he represent? And what was the meaning of his character in Boruto? In the Momoshiki arc, he looks at Boruto and sees his future or sees his fate. And that is the first time that we see someone have a predestined fate that is going to play out throughout Boruto. Now, this was thought to be something exclusive to Momoshiki, but when Isshiki came around, it was shown that yet another Otsutsuki had ties to fate. With both of them kind of representing this concept, we were left wondering just how Isshiki would be different than Momoshiki. Luckily, we didn't have to wait that long. When fighting Kashin Koji, Isshiki tells us that everything has a predestined fate and that no one can escape it, but himself who has transcended death. Isshiki tells us that the reason why Kashin Koji lost is because Amato picked a human, and he clinged to this human weakness, and Koji lost to the preordained fate that Jiraiya held. But in Two Blue Vortex, we later find out that Koji also transcended his fate due to the actual omnipotent and transcendent god, that being Shibai. Via having his cells transplanted within him and activating this divine ability known as prescience, he was able to actually cling to a future worth clinging to and inadvertently save the entire planet by escaping Isshiki's grasp. Isshiki didn't really pay this too much mind because of course he didn't know that Kashin Koji had awakened this ability, and he thought, okay, another person who can't possibly do anything to me, I've already seen their fate, they're just an easy target. He can escape for right now, I have to get to Kawaki. Isshiki after this has a couple of main opponents, all of whom are people who have both changed fate and or run towards it to protect their loved ones. His main opponents are Boruto, Naruto, and Kawaki. Sasuke and Naruto both state that they are willing to put their lives on the line for Konoha, and Naruto has been prepared this moment ever since he became Hokage. Boruto is someone that throughout fighting to control Momoshiki's power, he has learned the value of his life and that he can actually protect people, and he seeks to control it for the betterment of the village. Kawaki is someone who cares for Naruto so much so that he is willing to also put his life on the line for the greater good, not knowing love until Naruto accepted him into its family. And when Isshiki actually fights Baryon Mode Naruto, he is met with something that completely goes against him, something that embodies fate and also takes mortality instead of immortality, something that Isshiki sought so much, with the use of course, karma and Kawaki. It uses that as a weapon against him. We see him completely lose it after the first time realizing he was wrong. This is shown when panels of Isshiki actually not having a calm demeanor and him just screaming to the top of his lungs because he is so scared to die. Naruto is using the binding force of all life, chakra, in order to shave off Isshiki's lifespan, bringing him closer to being immortal than he has ever been, even when Kaguya caught him off guard. This goes perfectly into how Jigen views Kawaki, which is also secretly how Isshiki views himself. Jigen and Kawaki are both broken vessels. I am talking about the actual vessel of Isshiki, not himself. They are broken vessels that cannot be filled. This is stated multiple times by Jigen himself, and many people overlook how Isshiki sees both of them as the same, which is why this fits so well. Jigen thought the only way to seal the hole, or in his own words, punctured heart, was with power. This is why he was trying to instill that into Kawaki, so that he, Isshiki, could become an immortal god beyond his own fate with karma. Isshiki's weakened body that was destroyed after Kaguya kinda snuck him and left him near death was going to be completely revitalized and stronger than ever, breaking away from his fate to die that day with Kawaki. Kawaki was the perfect vessel for Isshiki, and he was going to fill the hole in his heart. This hole being, of course, the power that he lacked. This parallels perfectly with Naruto, who tries to instill good within Kawaki. This broken vessel, which we know since he is an empty and hollow person, it can be filled with whatever and changed. Both of Kawaki's parents, Naruto and Jigen, tried to give him a different life. Naruto gave him everything that Isshiki took away from him. Isshiki dies by the teachings of Naruto, or a true love having a perfect conclusion. The shadow clone jutsu taught by Kawaki's better father, that being Naruto, symbolic of their bond and the actual binding force of life, chakra, is what inevitably leads to Ishiki's downfall. This is something that Naruto himself was willing to bet Kurama and his life on, and something that Naruto thought that was so important he would leave his own family for. Isshiki, this was foreign for him. He would never put his life on the line for anyone, and he thought that his fate was just to be better than everybody. Having someone as inferior as a human, especially Kawaki, somebody who he had beaten, battered, and took everything away from, forcing him to become this cold-hearted and heartless monster, someone that would kill someone just for bumping into him, was able to trick Isshiki and ruin all of his thousands, millennia of plan. This goes back to what the vase was trying to teach us. The vase showed Kawaki becoming new, breaking his old self, now having bonds, family, and friends holding him together. He is still damaged, shown by the cracks, but is pieced together and held by something stronger, that being his bonds and chakra. Isshiki had nothing like this. He had no bonds. He had chakra, but he only used it selfishly and thought that he was so much above people that he didn't have to try. This is why he just constantly holds back in battle, because he thinks that it's predestined and preordained that he will succeed. He thinks he is above death. He thinks that he cannot die. This goes directly into his conclusion. Isshiki, the god, now accepting his philosophy was wrong, while he's just a soul who's withering away to code, goes to his last follower, with everything coming full circle, showing us the theme of the entire manga of Boruto, passing on to the next generation. Another parallel of Boruto's relationship with Naruto and Sasuke, this time with Isshiki actually self-reflecting and telling Code to continue with something that he could not. Becoming a god, a peerless being, someone completely unique and transcendent. This actually shows a difference in Isshiki than the other Otsutsuki. While someone like Momoshiki, when he was close to death, he still was kind of just this bratty, cocky guy who bestowed karma onto Boruto, and even when Boruto was willing to kill himself or Boruto was willing to actually try to stop, he just clings to life with everything he has. Isshiki is someone who, when he lost, he acknowledged it. He didn't try anything else. He didn't try any other manipulation tactics. All he did was pass on his philosophy to his last follower. Someone who is like what Kawaki was, but actually loving to Isshiki. Because as we know, Code actually just idolizes Isshiki so much so that he worships him. This is a bit of a blind worship, because at the end of the day, I'm not saying that Isshiki loves Code. He clearly doesn't, but Code is the last thing he has. Kawaki, someone who is paralleling this event, looks up to Naruto, and while he may look like he worships Naruto, he just loves him so much because he is the first person to show him change. Isshiki's narrative kinda doesn't stop there though. Yes, that is the conclusion to his character, but different pieces of events that could be traced back to his philosophy are still running rampant in Two Blue Vortex. The entire premise behind Kashin Koji's ability is looking at fates that were somewhat preordained or predestined and trying to change them. This is using, of course, these singularities of fate, Boruto and Ida. Boruto is someone that, with the knowledge that Kashin Koji bestows upon him, can change the worst possible outcomes. These outcomes differ, but of course they all lead to the same conclusion, the Earth being destroyed. One is when Code actually wins, fulfills Ishiki's wish, and becomes a peerless and unique being. The other one is where Boruto dies, Juro wins and just destroys the planet. These go on and go on and go on indefinitely, and we don't know all of them because they're infinite, but they're all grim. Which is what I like most about this narrative. They're not trying to put it into question whether it's right or wrong. They're telling us constantly that it is wrong. They're telling us that fate can be changed. And no matter how seemingly permanent it is, or 100% it seems to be, it's not. Using the right abilities and using the right bonds, you can always find a way out of a situation. Isshiki, while proven wrong, he is irredeemable still. When he's proven wrong, we are not left wondering like with Obito and Madara that, okay, so it was all for the greater good, or he did this because he was dealt the wrong hand in life and it was just an unfortunate cause of events. No, it wasn't. Isshiki is evil. He is irredeemable. He is a bad person. He tortured hundreds of kids. He ruined Kawuki's life. And his philosophy was just shit on. We are left satisfied. We don't have to feel sorry for the villain, but we can also feel the happiness of understanding why they did it. We know why Isshiki did it. Isshiki was blinded by his godhood and his own ego. That led to his downfall. Nothing more or nothing less. He's a monster. He will forever be a monster, and no one will ever love him. Sounding kind of harsh, but I mean, come on now. With that being said, I'm glad we didn't get any rerun villains. We didn't get someone who was broken and a grown man who went on to start a war like Madara, somehow came out of it wanting to be drinking buddies with Hashirama. We didn't get anyone like Obito, who's also a broken young man who kind of just got mad at something, which started a downward spiral again and was manipulated by another guy, which led to more war. I didn't want that. I don't want that. I don't want a repeat of that. It was good in Naruto, but it wouldn't be good here. And like I said, the best part about pure evil villains, or villains who are monsters to the very end, you never have to wonder, right? How am I gonna actually make my readers want to like him and want to accept the new him? Because they don't have to and they never will. Hopefully you enjoyed, and you also kind of go into these type of villains and type of characters with an open mind, because they are truly different and truly unique, and I think are the most enjoyable archetype of villains.